Alright, that looks like it's working. So during this summer sale, I figured I'd try the MiG-15. It's one of the few models I still don't own, and I've never really tried it before. And I took a mission where last year I had tested a bunch of plane with, including the F-86, which is a good opponent, I guess, for the MiG-15. And I kind of liked enough the F-86 that I purchased it. But MiG-15, since I like to do a lot of air-to-ground, it's pretty limited in that role. So basically I've got one here. I can zoom in there on this thing. That I took the only camo that you can get so that it looks like a ground attack plane. Even though it's really more like an air superiority fighter. That's what it was designed to do during the Korean War. And I put like the two biggest bombs I can put on it, and that's all. You do have like a pretty big 37mm cannon on it, plus the 23mm. And yeah, we'll try to go do some damage with that just for fun. I gotta say, I tested like some of the training that comes with the plane. The cold start is really well explained. It's not too complicated. The takeoff, the taxiing, and all that stuff. Since I've flown previous planes like from the Soviet Union, like the MiG-19, the MiG-21, I could understand pretty easily the differential braking that you need to use to turn this when you're taxiing. It's similar to the Spitfire, if some people have that plane from World War II. But yeah, it's a pretty nice looking jet. It's from another period in history, of course, but let's go try to fly it and see what we can do with it. You can see I've got a lot of planes I've tested with this mission, and you'll see there's like a few fires here and some vehicles in a field. You might actually recognize it if you've watched some of my previous testing videos from last summer. But yeah, that's what we're gonna go try to do with this plane. So hope you enjoy the flight, and can see if you like it. I'm still not decided if I'm gonna buy it or not, but like it's $25 right now, so it's a steal. I don't need to save anything. There. It's a very important thing. Yeah. Just gonna have to. I was testing my switches, and if you hit the gear switch by accident, the plane's gonna fall on its belly, so that's why I was testing all my switches. I'm gonna have to restart this. Alright. Let's go in the outside view. You can see what the plane looks like. You've got the two bombs on the wings. The cannons in front. You can see my flaps are down. I don't know if there's just that fully down position or if you can get them a little bit further up. And that goes all the way in. Okay, you can stop it. I think this will be good for takeoff. The other full down position looks more like something I'd want for landing. Alright, so that looks good. Good takeoff configuration for this plane. And just to show you maybe what my target's gonna look like, you've got a series of trucks like that in a field close to a bunch of things on fire so that it's gonna be easy to spot. And there's that technical that can actually shoot back at us, so that's going to be the first one we try to get. So, whoops, cockpit. So this is the cockpit. When you do the cold start, you learn how to turn on these switches on to get things going. But once the plane is going, one of the main things we'll have to do, since we'll be shooting bombs, is we'll have to activate this down there. And the other thing I noticed was for the guns, you have to sort of prime them before you go, otherwise they just won't shoot. But it's not like in the MiG-21 where you press the button and then you hear a discharge sound. This you have to press and hold. So we'll try to do that. I don't know if we have to do it in the air or on the ground, but it's something we'll definitely want to do if we want to be able to shoot. The other thing we want to do to be able to shoot is we have to remove that safety there. So that I guess we could do on the ground. And when we taxi, we have to bring the RPM at least to 5,000 RPM. I think it's around 6 that we're going to start to move, as you can see. And then to be able to turn, you brake, but you use the rudder at the same time. I'll put the at the bottom left, you can see what my instruments are doing. I've got my rudder there. If I put the rudder to the right, the brakes apply on the left or the right, depending on where the rudder is at the bottom. So that's the differential braking you use to position yourself. Takes a little bit of getting used to. I think the MiG-19, MiG-21, L-39 all have pretty much the same system, so you have to bring it pretty stable, and then they say once you're lined up with the runway, you keep the brakes on, bring your RPM pretty much to like 7 or 8, check everything's nominal, and let go of the brake and go full power. Doesn't take very long before you get like rudder authority, so that allows you to steer the plane on center. And then at around 200 you can pretty much take off pretty easily like this. And then you get your gears up. Not sure I understand the flap gear lever thing very well, but I got them up. What's cool is you can actually see on the wings, if I bring the flaps down, there is a little something that pops out. Same thing for your gear. But now I'm bringing the flaps back in and that thing disappears. The fact that I don't see on the two wings the little pop-ups for the gear, and here on the nose we can see that red thing is in. That means that within the cockpit I can tell the gear is up. So it's a good visual aid. You have the little lights here, but if there was a malfunction for that, be a way to see this. And you can see that I have some very bright navigation lights. So to turn these off, I go here. Of course, I have the English cockpit. Haven't practiced my Cyrillic in a while. I would probably be able to read it, but when I learn a plane, I prefer to use a language I understand. So right now we're just flying to get a feel for it. You have a good trim on the plane. You can trim up, down, left, right for the wing up, wing down. And you can see the fires there in the distance in front of us. And the vehicles in the field there. That's where we're going to go first. I'm going to climb a little bit and I'm going to see if I can drop my bombs. So let's talk about bombs and guns. For bombs I have to activate all this here, and for the guns I have to activate this and hold. Then I can check my machine guns. Looks like they're running. And this is for the cannon. Click and hold. The light went on. Cannon's working. So now we see our targets down there. I'm going to try to do a dive bomb attack. with my 2 bombs. It's one shot and you pray that you're gonna hit something. So there we go. I know my technical that can actually shoot back at me is that pale vehicle there in front. Trying to roughly line it up and bombs away. Let's see what that does. I didn't see where the bombs landed. I think they landed in the field a little bit long. I haven't studied the mechanics of how to drop bombs in this plane, so I was really just going with a bit of a prayer. Oh yeah, they went long. You can see some holes along the target, but that's okay. Just testing stuff. Now we're gonna go have fun with our machine guns. So I'll try with, again, the line where that technical is, so I can kill him and maybe some of the other vehicles there. Alright. It's probably gonna start shooting at me, yeah. So that wasn't super precise. I think I might have gotten some of the trucks, but didn't get my technical. Yeah, I did quite a few hits on the trucks. I wasn't quite lined up properly for the other vehicles. One of the things I did in flight is I was playing a lot with my rudders, and I find when you're trying a strafe run it's best not to touch them. So we'll try that without rudders this time. Horrible. I was playing with my zoom. I think I'm going to start the other gun. If I understand this properly, you have a forward and aft. I don't know if they take their bullets from the same magazines or not. I probably won't be able to do a lot of these runs either because I'm not in unlimited weapons and you don't have a lot of bullets. If you're gonna go for air-to-air kills, you may want to make sure you're lined up with your target when you kill him. And for ground targets like this, I think I got him this time. Yeah, we got him. Another thing is when you play with the throttle controls, you have to predict ahead of time where you're going to want the throttle to be because it takes about 15 seconds for it to react. The RPM doesn't go down very fast. And when you want it to go back up, oh, Now it decides to change direction and now it goes back up. This is where we can see the RPMs. Let's try this again. We're gonna get it down. And then we want to go back up. I see it takes a little while before it decides it wants to follow what you tell it to do. Let's look at the other line of trucks that are there. See if we can put some damage on those. We've got a few hits. You have like a separate trigger for the cannon, and sometimes my thumb goes on the wrong button for it, so if I fired all the guns at the same time it might be a bit more effective, but I like to start with the smaller machine guns and then go in with a cannon, but sometimes it's just too late to shoot. Let's try maybe one last one. That's probably going to be my last bullets. There are a few more things on fire, I think. Yeah, I see some explosions. Are there any bullets left? That's it. It's back to base time. Out of ammo. So there we go, leaving the target area. Now, one of the things I want to check is, okay, our base is here. I'm hitting, let's say, 100 degrees. Is that what that compass says? Yeah, okay, it does. I'm having a really hard time reading that compass. Instead of the degrees switching around, it's the plane that switches around. So if I point towards the airfield, which is there, and I go back to my F10 and I measure a straight line, it says 130, and if we look, it is more or less on the 130 here. If I point my nose in the middle of the runway, yeah, so it makes a certain amount of sense. Okay, so that's how you read this. So now we're going to try to land on the runway with our 50s vintage plane. So there are some air brakes on it. You will see in the back as they deploy there. Coming back in, coming out. So that can slow you down a little bit as you come into land. Of course the nose drops, so you trim up at the same time. Gonna try to bring my flaps down. There we go, and I think there's another notch that you can go down. We'll bring the wheels down, and then we'll give it gas. Because now I need power to be able to land. On my first attempt, I came close to crashing because of what I was telling you earlier. The RPMs take a long time to get back up when you're slowing down. So what you want is not to slow down too much when you're low to the ground, because those trees we see before the runway there in the village, I almost went to buy the farm over there when I was coming in for my first landing. Luckily for me, the power came back just in time, and I was able to maybe shave a few leaves off the top of the trees and to land safely. But it's something good to know that the power on this thing, it doesn't come instant. You have to wait for it. So we have our speed indicator here, which is in kilometers per hour, and apparently like a good takeoff speed is between 160 and 200. So that's why I'm trying to get it close to 200 before I land. And then in the last few steps before touching down, I'm gonna try to reduce the speed so that it touches down nice and soft. Sorry there, I was watching those trees again because I told you what happened the first time. Almost went and hit them, and I don't want too much of an angle of attack because it'll slow me down too quickly. So I think we're good here. You can see I'm looking to the left of the gun sight. I have a little bit of a better view of the runway. Oh, now I'm stalling. Eesh, that wasn't pretty. Okay. Not pretty, but we're safe and sound. So now we can get the flaps back up. And then we'll use that differential braking to turn around again. So the nose wheel basically is free. And so it's the left, the right brake that was braking me. Now it's the left one that's going to turn me around. That's how you control it. It's easier from the cockpit. So let's do it from here. We'll go park it over there. As you may have seen, like just before I was landing, if you pull too hard on the stick or push too much on it, the plane's gonna want to depart from controlled flight pretty easily. So keep that in mind. You don't want to stall that close to the ground. I feel that's more or less what made one of my wings drop a little bit. looks alright. So we can ask to get the wheel chocks.
Chief, place the wheel chocks. Copy. Wheel chocks are now in place.
There we go. And then we can use our lazy shutdown. Can see the grass moving behind us. And that's it. We've completed a complete flight in the MiG-15. Let's go check out our ground targets. So yeah, that first column here, I got quite a few vehicles in it, and the technical here burnt completely, and the other column here, the second part of it was hit quite a bit, but the first part, I guess some of the trucks moved, and you can see my bomb holes there. I was aiming that technical to the left of those two holes, so I wasn't super precise there. If I had lined with the road and the other vehicles, maybe I would have had a chance to hit the other vehicles. Yeah, in the line here. So that's it. Little test of the MiG-15, just for fun. Hope you enjoyed.